This morning we're going to be doing an analysis of board 21 from Thursday night's RBC game. It's a board where about half the field got to 4 spades with east-west hands, and about half the field played a part score in spades, either 2 or 3. I believe there were 15 comparisons and 8 people bid the game. 7 people were either in 2 or 3 spades. We'll talk about the bidding quickly, because everyone's usually interested in the bidding. Goes pass, pass. South has 12 balanced. You're opening this hand at diamond. West has a pretty easy 1 spade overcall. If I were North, I would make a negative double with this hand. Remember, negative double is just a family of takeout doubles in the family of takeout doubles. Double is always going to speak to the unbid suits with an emphasis on any unbid major. So you can almost think of North's double here as an invisible 1 heart bid. Okay. He's saying I have the same kind of hand that would have bid 1 heart had West not stolen that room from me. East has a nice passed hand with support for spades. What do we do with that type of hand? We Q-bid their suit. 2 diamonds says, I have a spade fit, and I have a pretty darn good hand in the context that I couldn't open the bidding. I think North-South are probably done with this auction. If we look at West's hands from a loser perspective, I believe I'm coming up with 5. My partner ought to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 for his 2 diamond bid, which means we definitely should be bidding a game here. Also, I know I have at least a 9 card spade fit. That 6 spade is pretty big here. And it's also one of the things that's contributing to my only having the 5 losers, right? Because 1 spade in my hand means fewer cards and other suits. Anyway, I could get fancy here and try to get hearts back into the picture, but that's contraindicated by the fact that North has advertised hearts. So rather than doing anything fancy here, I think I'm just bidding 4 spades, and I'm going to play it there. North's going to lead a diamond, probably. And the right idea from 3 cards in a suit is small. There are a couple of exceptions to that. Maybe if you've supported your partner such that he knows you have length in the suit and you don't have a high card in honor, there might be some argument for leading high from 3 cards in that spot. But normally what we're going to do is we're going to lead low, and I would do this from 9 third, 10 third, jack third. I just want to disambiguate the lead from potentially being a doubleton, right? I'm not necessarily promising a card in this suit. So we lead the 4 of diamonds, and this is where we should shift focus to West and count tricks. We're counting tricks from the perspective of the person with more trumps, generally. Okay, so here's how that process goes here. And again, this is a spot where you can add a lot to your average match point score. People aren't doing the counting tricks thing. So spades, we have 6 if they break 2-2, and we normally have 5 if they break 3-1. So that's our spade count. Clubs, we have 1 trick if the ace of clubs is on our left, like with North. Diamonds, we have 1 trick. We could also potentially finesse the queen of diamonds to try and get a second diamond trick. The reason I don't like that plan is because we don't necessarily have a good pitch on the ace of diamonds, right? Like if we're able to knock out the ace of hearts and take care of the other heart losers in our hand, and if the club finesse is working, we don't actually need the queen of diamonds to be a trick here. So that's what I would be thinking in that suit. I'm not intending to take this first round diamond finesse. Okay, so 1 diamond, potentially 1 club, depending on where the ace is, 1 heart on power, and we're going to try and rough some heart losers. The other thing we want to do is lead hearts away from the 8-7 side towards the king-queen 9-6 side. Potentially we need to do that twice, and we have 1 sure entry and 1 potential entry with the king of clubs in order to accomplish that plan. So that's the 30 seconds or 45 seconds that I would be thinking as West at trick one. Okay, so I'm going to use my entries to lead hearts towards my hand. I don't need to take the diamond finesse. And this is not a pull trump immediately hand because I need to rough heart losers in the dummy. Okay, so here's how it would go. Ace of diamonds at trick one. And remember, we're not touching trump yet. We're tackling hearts. We lead a heart. South should duck here because that's going to do the most to make West's life more difficult. If you go ahead and play the ace here, he gets to play the 6. He gets to play one of his low cards, and you're not getting enough bang for your buck with your ace. So we just follow second hand low here. And West goes ahead and plays the king of hearts. And he'd like to lead hearts from the dummy again, so he's just going to go ahead now and see if that king of clubs is an entry. He either has 2 club losers or 1 club loser, and there's no reason not to go ahead and figure out if that king of clubs is an entry right now. Again, we're not pulling trump yet. We've got too much stuff to do. So he leads the 7 of clubs out. North ducks. Plays the king and crosses his fingers. It works. Okay, that's great. At this point, if we remember back to the bidding where South opened, we pretty much know where all the high cards are. Okay, we know that North had the ace of clubs and maybe like a couple of other jacks and queens, but it appears at this point like South has all the important cards, i.e. the king of diamonds, the ace of hearts, probably at least one of the black queens, maybe both of them. But we're getting to the point where if North has the ace of clubs, South needs most of the rest of the stuff to justify having opened the bidding. And we're going to lead a heart again. And this time, South can go ahead and play the ace. Otherwise, he's going to lose it. Everything's going hunky-dory for West right now. South might reason at this point that, West isn't playing trump. Maybe it's right to play a trump. I can't lead a diamond because Declare would rough that and set up the queen. That's no good. I could potentially play a heart, I suppose, but that's just going to let Declare rough on the board. So let's say we lead a spade back. Declare wins the ace here. Remember the ace, not the king. If you play the king, you're going to let South know about the location of 2 cards. If you play the ace, it might be still a possibility in South's mind that his partner holds like king, jack, doubleton of spades. So something super interesting here happens. North plays the jack of spades. Okay, that's one of the 2 important big cards in the suit. We're actually going to talk more about that in a second video on this specific thing that happens sometimes in bridge. It's called restricted choice, but we'll get to that in the next video. Still not ready to pull trump here, right? Because we have to do something about that 9 of hearts. Okay, the 10 of clubs is always a loser, but the 9 of hearts can get roughed in the dummy. So let's go ahead and do that. At this point, because of the restricted choice thing that we're going to talk about in the next video, it's finally gotten to pull trump time because we have disposed of the losers that could have been, that we created extra tricks by trumping the shorthand. So now it's finally time to lead trump. And the 10 is the odds-on play here. And it ends up working. We go ahead and draw the last trump. And at this point, there's nothing left to do except claim 4 of the last 5. Okay, we have 3 spade winners and a heart winner, and we lose the club. Now, let's go to the Traveler. Okay, so I took the Traveler data, the comparisons. A score of 450 would get you all of the match points. Okay, that happened once. If you go down, you're not getting many match points at all. And you'll see that, 420 gets you 79%, 140 gets you 18%. It's all captured in this graph right here, which is just raw score versus what you ultimately get match point wise. And I dumped this to a paint file. So this is just the graph again, but what I want you to notice is the points where the graph has the steepest incline, right? The most increase in match point score for the smallest increase in raw score is predictably in that over trick range. So like here is 140, right? Going up to 200. This is the difference between being in a part score and making 3 versus being in a part score and making 5. And you'll notice that even if you're in the part score, if you can make 5, you get a reasonable board on here. We've highlighted this area in green because green is the color of money, and this is the easiest place to pick up match points, is scoring your tricks. Notice also that if we're in the game, like if we just make 4, okay, that's going to give us a really nice score of 78, I think it was. But if we made 5 and only one person in the room made 5 on a hand where it's eminently possible to make 5, you get 100%. So if you're in 4 spades, the difference between making and making an over trick is almost a quarter of a board. And if we look at the difference between making, which is 78% up here, and going down 1, which is about 8 or 10% here, that's a 70% difference, between taking 9 and 10 tricks in 4 spades. So I'm just going to keep on banging you guys over the head with this. Making your extra tricks, over tricks or the contract versus down 1, that's where you see the biggest gains as far as your match point score. Okay, not being in thin games, not being in thin slams. It's just taking your tricks. It was very reasonable to bid the game there. We just use our losing tricks. We use our Q bid and we bid the game. Then we count our tricks and we get to 450 if we play the hand correctly, which is 100% of the match points. Literally only one person out of 15 managed to get to the game and take all the tricks. Okay, so this is super important, guys. So that's what I have to say about that. I'm going to make a second video on restricted choice, or what's sometimes referred to as the Monty Hall problem. Hopefully that one will be shorter. And I want to do this video because, first of all, it's a cool thing that happens a lot of times. And second of all, it's always a challenge to the explainer to try and tell the audience what's going on this in as elegantly as possible. So I'll attempt to do that next. This was your deep dive on board 21 from Thursday night. Hope you enjoyed it.